Hello and welcome back to our next segment of the Asatru Edda reading. I am Asgard Rodskeg, and in today's chapter it is entitled Egill. Egill had become a great champion and had earned widespread reputation for his deeds in defending the Ivaldi from the powers of frost. To those who had saw the sign of the times, it was clear that the Jotnar were growing bolder and more dangerous every year. Often, Egill would ski out onto the stormy, mist-enveloped and enchanted Ivaldi to spy on the doings of the Jotnar. Egill was hardly less talked among the Jotnar than Thor. It vexed them that this son of Ivaldi, who in stature and strength was by no means superior to the largest among them, had for 3 whole years now attacked with impunity the coastal regions of the land of the Hrimthursar and killed many of its tenants with its sure-hitting arrows. Running on skis over the crusty snow field, he was out where they least wanted him and made it impossible to catch him in pursuit, so long as he did not come across Hungnir or Golfaxi. This had not happened because of his boldness, but was kept in check by his carefulness, and he let no superior come too close to him before he laid an arrow on the bowstring. However, the Jotnar would have perhaps finally got him into their possession if he did not have his supporters among them. The mother of Ivaldi's sons was a Gigr named Grip, though and through her they stood in kinship with a powerful family in Jotunheim, which Isungr and the later renowned maids of Fenja and Menja belonged to. Isungr was Egill's kinsman and had received him and given him lodging where he had once come shipwrecked, floating on the keel of an overturned ski boat, to Isungr's garter by the shore during one of the storms that the Hrimthursar raised on the Ivaldi to drown him. He had successfully defied these storms and successfully conducted himself through the mist, which his enemies spread out over the water to confuse his course. Now it so happened that the Jotun named Kol learned of Egill's deeds and decided that he would meet him in combat. He cruised about, combing various parts of the sea until he lit upon Egill Orvandil's fleet. In the midst of the ocean there was an island held by each of the warriors, who had moored their ships on different sides. The leaders were attracted by the delightful prospect of the beaches. The beautiful vista of the offshore encouraged them to view the woods of the interior in spring and wander among the glades and remote expanses of the forest. Their chance steps led Kol and Egill Orvandil to an unwitnessed meeting. Egill Orvandil took the initiative and asked his opponent how he wanted to fight, stressing the most superior method was one which exercised the sinews of the fewest men. He thought that single combat, called Einvigi, was the most effective than any other type of contest for securing the honors of bravery, since a person must rely on their own valor and refuse any other man's aid. Kol, admiring such courageous judgment in a young man, replied, "As you allow me a choice, I vote wholeheartedly for an encounter that only needs the work of 2 men, free from the unusual pandemonium. Certainly this is reckoned to require more fortitude and leads to a speedier victory. On this our verdicts concur spontaneously. As the conclusion remains in doubt, we must each of us make a concession to common decency. Rather than give rein to our natural tempers, we should observe our obligations to the dead. Hatred is in our hearts, make room for them for compassion, and proper successor to harness in the end. Though difference of opinion divides us, we share the same universal laws, and these join us together, however much resentment now sunders our spirits. Let our sense of duty then make this stipulation that the victor should conduct the last rites of the vanquished. All men agree that these embody the final human courtesy, for no pious individuals have ever shirked from them. Each side must relax his vigor and cordially carry out this service. Let malice depart from one has met his weird, let death lull the feud. Although hate became between us alive, there is no demand for one to continue persecuting the other's remains, which is a mark of severe cruelty. It will be a glorious token for the conqueror to celebrate a rich helford for the victim, for whoever pays the last rites of the dead enemy enlists the goodwill of his successor and overcomes the survivor by a kindness in exerting his benevolence towards the departed. Another, no less lamentable disaster sometimes occurs to the living when part of the body is maimed. I believe in being just as ready to help a man in this case as when he has breathed his last. Fighters often suffer loss of limbs when life is still intact, and this is commonly reckoned worse than any fatal casualty. Death takes away the recollection of everything, whereas the living man cannot overlook the devastation of his own body. One must therefore give support to such a mutilated individual. A suitable reparation for the injured ought to be 10 marks of gold. If it is a duty to sympathize with another's misfortune, how much more is it to pity one's own? Everyone takes thought from his own condition, and if anyone is negligent in this, he is self-murderer. Each gave his word to honor to the point, and they fell to battle. They were not deterred from assailing each other with their blades by the novelty of the meeting or the springtime charm of that spot, for they took no need in these things. Egill's emotional fervor made him more eager to set upon his foe than defend himself. Consequently, he disregarded the protection of his shield and laid both hands on his sword. This daring has its result. His rain of blows depraved Cole of his shield by cutting it to pieces. Finally, he carved off the other's foot and made him fall lifeless. He honored their agreement by giving him a real helfor, constructing an ornament tomb, and providing a ceremony of great magnificence. After this, he hounded down Cole's sister Sela, a warring Giger, an accomplished marauder herself. In his ski boat, he expected new adventures with everything the Jotun powers could send out, cold, hail, mist, and darkness, and never had Egill been worse off. He worked restlessly to keep the boat over the water, and he drifted right through the waves and ice floes through the course of Midgardr. Howling troll monsters surrounded him on all sides. With blows from his oar and strikes from his sword, he had to ward off their efforts to overturn his small craft. The cold was ever more overpowering to him, his limbs began to stiffen, and for a time he was missing from Isether. Thank you for joining us on this next segment reading of the Asatru Edda. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please support the channel, hit that thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to see all of our new content. Thank you again for listening in, and we'll see you on the next segment.